Welcome to the bold analysis. I want you to try to interpret what is your understanding of the word private investor. Because if there is a word that is, the two words that are largely abused in this country. One is private investor. Number two is a very sugar-coated word for corruption, for budgeted corruption, known as misappropriation. There is nothing like misappropriation, it is corruption. Secondly, there is nothing like private investor. The colorless private investor is actually the big boys. What am I talking about? Today, there is an article that has, I'm like, I think this country just have our own problems. Johnson Sakaja is proposing a radical change to demolish the Green Park terminus that was constructed by the defunct NMS in the tune of 250 million, built in the last heydays of Uhuru Kenyatta's reign, and allegedly under the guise that that land is a prime land, that they've got some private investor under model of PPP to construct hotels and and conference halls in that land. The terminus, I remember it was the famous Luna Park. So it was changed, it came from Luna Park, that was the green terminus. So Sakaja is saying that all of a sudden that land is viable, is prime for some investments. You know, we've had that Uhuru Park for, I think, for the last like 60 years. Sakaja was a senator in this country for, I think, 10 years. Kenya Kwanza, members of Kenya Kwanza who are now in government, have been in government for as long as I can remember. Even Chief Minister Salem Davadi was at one point a finance minister. But it had never crossed the national minds of leaders that where Uhuru Park is located is prime for some investment. And I want to ask you, do you want to believe, or do you want to convince us that that area is actually being set aside for investment by a private? That is, I think that's public land. And Malihiko, do you want to tell me that land can be sold to someone from some other country to construct hotel and conference halls? Don't we have people around in this country, people in government who can construct? What is your guess on it? And what is the objective? Now, the project that was done by NMS, led by General Badi, was part of the plan to decongest Nairobi city by pushing matatu operators out of CBD. And of course, I understand that it was rushed without much of public participation, and it received a backlash because there was back and forth confrontation between the matatu operators because they allegedly declined to go there. But they declined to use that place. But I'm just getting a little bit critical here. I'm just realizing that the story about matatu operators declined to use the terminus is a hogwash. The whole thing, those who came into power to implement it, designed it to fail. And the whole chaos about how it is being implemented, it was done to cause chaos because the terminus is on the other side of it's Haile Selassie. So I honestly believe that a vehicle that is plying Thika Road route is not making sense for that vehicle to use green terminus. But vehicles, and especially, or let me say even the town service vehicles might not be viable. But vehicles like the Western buses, the long distance buses, can use that space. Or even the Ngong Road buses can comfortably use that place, and it can reduce the congestion in town. This congestion cannot be solved once and for all. If you build one green terminus on this side, then vehicles for Ngong and that is Ngong and Dagoretti, Waithaka, and Kibera, Westlands, they can use it. Then after some time, you also build another terminus on the other side of Thika Road. Then that can take care of the Thika Road. Then sometime you get some money and build one on the other side of Jogoo Road, and that can take care of Jogoo Road and Mombasa Road. But the whole thing was designed to fail because someone had already sat down and made a very good projection that is a space for someone to invest. It is not true that Matatu guys cannot use that space. I think we are not so honest in it. Now, they're saying there is something we are exploring under public-private partnership. In fact, this PPP is story. Public partnership that the government is providing and the public and someone is providing. There is nothing like private. It is the same people in government who wants to build those hotels. Fine. The problem is not on who is building. The problem here is MPs are saying that setting up hotels and conference they will oppose it from members of parliament as a multi-storied building may pose a security threat to parliament, which is adjacent to the Green Park terminus. That be it. Apart from that, effectiveness of that park, apart from the economic sense, does it offer, was the purpose there wrong? And nevertheless, the president has never stepped in that place. It was one of the projects, it was never launched by the president. Number two, Sakaja even held Nairobi festival around that place, and the president was supposed to attend. He never even attended, to tell you that has never been welcomed. But I'm not shocked. There have been this discussion about even moving prisons around in prime land, especially the prisons that are around. I think they was talking about the one in Kitale. I think there is the other one for Narok. That some really structures like prisons are around the center, around town center, are sitting in prime land that can be used for investment. Fine. I don't have a problem. It's true, there's nothing like private investor. It is the same people in government who are going to build those things. But have we conducted enough public participation? We may need to ask ourselves that questions. Kindly subscribe to our channel, and let me remind you about our fundraiser. We in the last few days, just today and Saturday, then on Sunday, we'll be going to provide food stuff, support an orphanage in Dagoretti. We are targeting 50,000. We had pulled by Friday night. We had gotten how much? Sorry, we had gotten I think 19,000, and we believe that we'll push towards the target by Sunday. So I want to humbly request you. We are doing 50 bob challenge to buy dry food. Thank you for those who are turning up and supporting this. May God bless you. Now, this is a red signal. Johnson Sakaja is being set up for failure, and honestly, this is it. This project is going to receive opposition from environmentalists and even members of parliament. And a lot of court cases are going to be there. And the land question, there are just a lot of things around this project. And the moment this will turn out, because someone will want to know who is this private investor, who is this, who is that. But the moment the scanty details will emerge, I want to believe that it cannot be a reason for, it cannot be a reason for to say it's something we've achieved. I remember in Kisumu, Anyang wanted to do away with Kisumu. For people who have gone to Kisumu, where Kisumu girls and Kisumu boys are, is around the roundabout, and Kisumu Day, they're around town. And I was told that Anyang' Nyong'o wanted to move these schools out of town so that that land can be left for some investment. Of course, that's a narrative going on, but does it fall within the long-term terrain of the town, of the city? In the next 50 years, where do you want the city to be? Does it fall within? Does the Uhuru Park, because Uhuru Park has been there, it has been a historical site, Uhuru Park there is a very long history to Uhuru Park, and apart from it being a recreational space, it also carries itself some history. It's also a place of Kenyans are tired, watu wanaenda wanapumzika huko, people who have gone search for jobs, the jobs are not there, people go there and rest. The moment Sakaja will fall into the trap of this private developer, you realize that really it is government that are going to bend. Nothing wrong with that, but we are just opening a conduit of corruption. That's it. There's no other word to describe it. We are opening a conduit of corruption, and maybe the intention is to deface Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. Uhuru Park is one of the legacy projects of former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and maybe that is the intention. You might not want to say it, but that clearly is the intention. Thank you very much. Let's meet in the next.